What's up, everybody? Tom Pelissero here with Judd Zulgad on Tuesday. Judd, 4 full practices in the books now, 2 in pads. I think it's pretty safe to say on a day like this is one of those days that I think inevitably happens in training camp where the defense ends up just way ahead of the offense. The offense had no chance.
Yes, exactly right. Well, second day in pads, and here's the thing.
I think it's okay. I don't know what that was, but I think we're okay.
That was very, very loud. All right, so here's the thing about this, too, is they're out there practicing in, 95-degree heat.
Right.
The defense wants to be super aggressive. And remember, too, the important thing here is the Vikings defense has a lot to prove. They have a lot to show. That's become quite clear. Christian Ponder said after day 1 in pads, too, you know what? I wasn't great. I had some issues. The offense is going to evolve. Nonetheless, I'm still more concerned long-term, and I think you are too, about the Vikings' defense as opposed to the offense.
Right, well, and that's one of the big things, too, is just the mere fact that the defense is one thing to come out and be aggressive and to sort of bring that physical presence, but whether or not they're going to be able to execute play in, play out, game in, game out, which was a huge issue for him last season. I did think it was interesting listening to Alan Williams and to Leslie Frazier today talk about the defense. And Williams said he kept the terminology the same so that he can learn the Vikings' existing terminology instead of all the players. Well, there's a lot of new players here, so that says to me, Leslie Frazier said, hey, let's keep the terminology the same and let's go down that road. And when you ask Frazier about the defense, it's going to be the same core philosophies. We're tweaking a few things, but a lot of it's personnel. I think it still remains to be seen. I'm really interested to see exactly how this entire thing plays out because for as much as we can look at it and see some of the things they're doing on the field and say, Alan Williams is going to put a stamp on this defense, Frazier's a defensive coach. He's not going to let him go rogue and start coaching a scheme that he doesn't believe in.
And I watched Frazier in practice today, and just like Brad Childress spent the majority of his time with the offense, Leslie Frazier is spending the majority of his time with the defense. And remember, too, I think what Les Frazier really regrets last year was giving Fred Puggich early on too much control. Alan Williams is going to execute this defense exactly like Les Frazier wants it. They're very similar. I sat down with him this offseason, and Williams and Frazier, they don't scream. They don't yell at guys. It's all about teaching. And what was Puggich? Puggich was all about yelling and screaming and being as aggressive as possible. So I think what Frazier has found is sort of a Les Frazier clone here, and a guy who's going to do what he wants, how he wants it done, and any adjustments that Williams has to make, he's going to make. Because remember, he comes from the Colts. He was going to be fired. A couple days before he was going to be fired, Les Frazier calls and says, do you want to be my defensive coordinator? Alan Williams, I think, had spent 10 years as a defensive backs coach with the Colts. This was a godsend. So for Alan Williams, I think he's going to do exactly what Frazier wants. But make no mistake, Leslie Frazier, heavily involved with implementing this defensive scheme right now.
There have been a few minor injuries and things like Josh Robinson's hamstring, which I think puts him behind. Certainly you want any rookie, especially a high draft pick you're expecting to contribute, to be out there. He's still not out there. Looks like he's still running with a noticeable limp. You've had some other little nicks. Percy Harvin gave him a scare. Adrian Peterson ended up in the hospital for a few hours, which is just a bizarre deal. But the first significant one today, John Carlson, who could miss at least a few weeks. We're awaiting the results of the MRI. But at minimum, a sprained MCL, you're talking about several weeks. A 3-week injury in the preseason means 3 preseason games. Well, how much of a purpose does it serve to put Carlson out there in the 4th? We might be looking at a situation where you've got a tight end, one of your top 2 guys, who's not going to play at all in the preseason. And then when you're trying to put this offense together that's supposed to be geared around the tight ends, you'll get it 2 ways. One of them is, well, all of a sudden you're taking a key guy that you were willing to give $9.1 million guaranteed, 5-year, $25 million deal. You're taking him off the field. On the other hand, Mickey Schuler, Alan Reisner, now would be a good time to start playing.
Opportunity will present itself, but the sprained MCL, once again, see, the problem here, too, is they can say 3 weeks. This could be a problem for, 2 months? That's the issue, too. You don't know.
It depends on the degree of the sprain.
Exactly. We don't know yet. And so that is going to be the issue. But, yes, the tight end is going to be a key to this offense. John Carlson, healthy or not, right? So what's going to happen here? Some guys just walk behind
they're
us.
doing karate. That's what they're doing.
I know. They've been doing karate here for years,
well,
Tom. For years. I've been covering this team since 2005. Karate's been going on at 6 o'clock at night here forever.
Just go on.
Okay, so the key thing here is the tight end is going to play a major role. This is some good stuff. I've never seen this type.
Let's keep going. Try to keep it moving.
Okay, sorry about that. The tight end is going to be a key part of this offense no matter what. John Carlson, healthy or not healthy. So as you just said, now what do you have? Opportunity presents itself for a lot of guys. And I have a feeling as long as Kyle Rudolph stays healthy, Christian Ponder will be happy.
Well, and let's look at Ponder, too. And you never want to get too high and too low. And I said that to Frazier today, and I think that it's very obvious. As much as we all talk about, boy, he was so efficient those first 2 days, the last 2 days, he hasn't been. But that's the inevitable ebb and flow. If I said something disturbing today, it was that you saw Ponder in the pocket a little bit when it would start to break down. He'd sort of start dancing back there. Sometimes it seemed like there was a pocket.
Yep.
He'd see ghosts. He was short-arming some short passes. Those are the things that you don't want to see, but you also hope that he progresses over the course. But we're down here a long time. This is a long training camp this year.
It's 21 days down here. And
Yeah.
Ponder's pointed that out time and time again. Ponder's a smart enough kid to know this. You can't read into 1 day of practice or 2 days of practice. I think Ponder would have told you after the first 2 days, if you had gone up to him and said, your efficiency is really high, he would have said, calm down. And I think if you went up to him now and said, this doesn't look so good, he would say, you got to calm down. We got to see him in preseason games. Christian Ponder is going to have to face the fact that while this offensive line is better, he is, when he's under pressure, that's one thing. He's going to have to improve there. But he's got all of training camp to do it. And that's why you just can't get too excited about what you see, especially down here.
And all of a sudden he's lost, though, one of his 2 security blankets. Kyle Rudolph, the main guy he's been going to, but John Carlson, somebody the scouts like to. Be interesting to see how that impacts the development of the offense over the next couple of weeks. And boy, Judd, we got a lot of time left here.
You
I
have
have
more
a lot of time left.
than I have. I have a lot of time. You have more time.
A lot more karate,
Beautiful
too.
in Mankato. Hi-ya. Do you like that?
This is the best video ever. He's Judd. I'm Tom. Full Vikings coverage at 1500ESPN.com. We'll see you.